The neon lights blaze like a hole in the back of my head with their intensity. Ragged and old, I turn to stare them down, but they never blink anymore. Instead, I become blinded and dulled by their lavish incandescence. Weary and afraid, I scratch the USB port in the back of my skull and head into the nearest bar. Maybe you've heard of it. The Neon City Daily, After Dark. So hi everybody.
How you doing?
It's Jamie and it's also Nick at the same time talking to you, just us, one-on-one, two on one.
Unfiltered.
Yeah.
As it were. It probably sounded like I was peeing then, but I'm pouring myself a drink.
It's truly unfiltered.
As unfiltered as it gets.
But see, like, we were thinking to ourselves, like, we should probably, do another podcast because Josh and Dave, they talk a lot, and we figure, we don't really get to just have our say.
We'll just get there, yeah.
Yes, so this is it. We haven't really planned for this. If you just listen to, like, the latest Neon City Daily episode, Nick lost a quiz, which means that he's going to have to play League of Legends. The question I have for you, Nick, is how are you going to get out of this?
I'm not actually sure yet. I've been racking my brain for the last half an hour as I consider my options to run and leave. I mean, it's kind of nice at the moment. There's the whole like social distancing thing right now means that I can cite computer issues and stream issues as a way to try and maybe jump out of this. But, but we will see as the story progresses.
I mean, like...
I'm almost dead set on making sure that it happens, though. Because I know for a fact that if I can get through this, I can make Josh play a scary video game.
That's true. True. However, like I've kind of like I'm sort of growing on the idea now because like Josh, unbeknownst to us, like as soon as like we had finished with like the other podcast, we were setting up like figuring out like what we're going to talk about. We didn't really do that, but we were starting to, and then we hear this little ping in Discord, which is what we're talking through, and Josh was still in the chat but muted. However, he just was streaming League of Legends on his on the Discord and
him playing League of Legends. I feel like that needs to be made out.
Yes, you're right. He was playing it, and the best part was he didn't know he was doing it. So we just started trash talking him playing the game, and that like one thing led to another, and it led to us like prompting him to tell people he was a gamer girl, and some guy sent him a picture of his dick, and it was a whole thing.
It was probably one of the social interactions on League of Legends I didn't assume would be a thing until right now.
It's the most fun I've had with League of Legends.
So I mean, and as I said to Josh, if I can play, and I say in quote marks play, because no one really plays League of Legends. They exist in League of Legends, and it's League of Legends. If I can play League of Legends and spend most of my time in the chat just trying to get banned, it'll work out fine.
Yeah. But enough about League of Legends. What is this? A League of Legends podcast?
That'd be ridiculous.
Who would do that? No one. So, what we know that you've been playing the Animal Crossing, obviously, and you've got opinions about the rabbit. I feel like we covered those for the most part, so we won't really.
We did.
So
I was already mad previously.
We won't really dive into that. But something that we did play was we had a crack at Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Breakpoint, Wildlands.
That's it. We did, didn't we? Yeah, because of their free thing, where because I own the game, I could invite you into the game.
Yes,
and that is an interesting feature, and I like that. But it's only available to like April sometime.
I thought that as long as you owned the game, you could invite any friend. Really?
No, April 19th off the top of my head. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on it.
Well, I was about to say that's a really cool stand-up move for them to do that.
Yeah.
I rescind it. Because it's already like a free trial anyway, so what's the point there?
Ubisoft can't do something that's actually legitimately cool. They have to do something that looks cool, and then they kind of botch it, so...
But I swear I did hear them talking about how they would have features in their games that would allow people to come in like that, and it was just indefinite. So
they might. I mean,
I
it'd
don't
be
know.
good.
I don't know.
It'd be good if it is.
But either way, thank God I didn't have to pay money to play that game. Because
Yeah.
I heard it was better. It's, at least on the Xbox, a trash heap. Like,
Okay,
it ran
so-
awful.
Okay, so I'm gonna like reiterate this because obviously it was just you and me before, but single player was fine. It was just kind of fine. Didn't really have any of the lag issues or the things slow down issues or dropping frame issues. As soon as we were in co-op, just started falling over.
Yeah.
Like, and I think what was it? The first thing I think you mentioned, and I thought like, hey, wait a minute, I'll actually look at this. Was when you mentioned that you'd like move the stick to move, and you'd take a second to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd never noticed that before. Let's see if...
Yeah.
And we hadn't really done much. I think that was like in the first minute or two of us being in the game.
Yeah,
so I was
yeah.
So I'd tap the stick a little bit and dick around, try to move a little bit. And yeah, you were right. Like, as soon as you joined, as soon as it kind of had that latency, the game just started falling over.
Just ran like ass.
Poopy butt ass.
And I mean, like, I think I described it to you at the time as it's like playing Fable 3.
Yeah, you
Like,
did.
you're-
And that is exactly how it felt.
Yeah, it felt just like the control scheme for Fable 3, which is bad.
Yeah, like Fable 3 in itself was a game that via concept, like all the other Fables, via concept sounds amazing. And then you
Fable
get it
3, yeah.
into practice,
It was
and Fable 3, it's especially, was a little bit of a stumble and fall over.
Fable 3 was a fundamentally flawed, if charming game,
Yeah.
whereas Breakpoint is a fundamentally flawed game. There's no charm, unfortunately.
But especially, I feel, it fell over. And this is going to be weird when I throw this out there. The gameplay itself, when we were doing it, still kind of existed. And, you know, we were still going to, like, points, and we were still killing people, and we were still hanging out. But then we went to that social area.
Oh yeah!
And the social area is so weird to me, because there's not a whole lot to do. I don't know if it expands the more you get into the game. I haven't played a lot of it. But, like, I had a moment where I was like, wait a minute. I've thought this was odd. I'll mention it to Jamie and see how he feels about it. And the weird, stiff, non-movement walk that you do in that whole area.
Okay, their walk animation, like, alright, so I'm just gonna really quick thing, like, when you're walking, like, obviously you're leaning forward just a little bit, because, like, it's controlled falling. Men tend to walk with their shoulders, women tend to walk with their hips. The operatives in Ghost Recon Wildlands Breakpoint walk with neither.
None.
They just kind of wiggle their arms, they stand up bolt straight, like, when you do a jog, the jog is fine. Like, I don't know what is up with this walk. It's like an intern who kind of had an idea about the idea of what animation was, did it? I don't know. It's a weird thing to be critical about, but yeah, you walk like you've shat yourself, and you're really hoping no one notices, and you can't move too much because it's a little loose, and any jostle could like kind of dislodge it into your freaking like your
At any second, you're going to fill your boots up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and they're like government issue, you know. You really, you can't.
You're just lacking them.
Soiled.
You're just lacking them. You want the inside to stay nice and fresh for ultimate
What if
comfort.
you run into Sam Fisher? It wouldn't be the first time, you know. And you got like crap in your pants. Like, he's not going to appreciate that. You're not going to appreciate that.
He's going to be mean about it. He's going to call you unprofessional.
If the Predator or the Terminator show up and you got crap in your pants, they're going to think less of you for sure.
The Predator's just going to shoot you. That's a given.
Yeah.
The T-800 is probably
Terminator.
going to leave you alone because he's going to go, shit pants like a baby, not a threat. So,
What if the Terminator tries to take your boots and your pants, and he's like, actually, never mind. It's
how
okay.
insulting would that be? Like a robot sizes you up head to toe, decides you are exactly the dimensions that he needs, but then gets to your shitty drawers and goes, nah.
But the thing is, he's
doesn't
made you
even have
take
a
them
nose.
off. You strip off the trousers and give them to him. He's like, on second thought, no.
Like, you put a cigarette on him, you stabbed him, you did all this stuff, and he's just
everyone else in the bar sees, like, your shitty ass, and they're just all like, oh,
I'm sorry.
What happened? Is that why you walk like that?
Yes. Yes, it is. And everyone's going to know from now on that whenever you walk like that, you shit your pants, which is all the time.
I can never go back to that bar.
You can't go back into that bar. Once an entire bar has seen your dick, balls, and shitty undies, it's all over. It's fucking done. I could never go back to that one. I've been back to some bars after some embarrassing shit, but I would never do that and then think I could ever return.
So, the After Dark podcast... just 9 minutes in, we're talking about crapping your pants and having the crap shown to everybody. So already we leaps and bounds.
That's it. Yeah, we're really getting right in there into the meat of things.
This is the stuff that people care about.
Oh man, actually, you know what people care about? And I'm going to launch straight into this. This is the only thing that we talked about previously that I've kind of done this week that I kind of feel a weird need to discuss. Is Beastars.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, like, anime is not really a thing that I feel like we can dive into on the mainline podcast, because I don't feel like Dave and Josh are really in there, and I tend to watch some horrific anime. So
maybe if there was, like, a League of Legends anime.
Oh, that'd hurt so much. It'd just be watching Josh die over and over again. But...
that's gonna cut him deep.
It might do, but he's decided I have to play with him, so he's gonna have to put up with it.
Okay.
So I've got Netflix, as do many people, and I decided, you know what? I've seen Beastars a lot lately on Twitter. I'm gonna check it out. Right. So I generally have an aversion to any like CG anime, right?
Yeah.
And I generally have an aversion to any anime that I see a lot talked about on Twitter. Because usually that means it's garbage. There's like one aspect that people cling to, and it's not even an actual aspect of the show. It's just because they've seen characters they want to fuck. Yeah. And so the problem with this is that Beastars, my intro to this was seeing things on Twitter with a male deer who's kind of like a prefect school super cool guy. Because it's all set in a high school with these anthropomorphic animals.
Of course, it's Japanese.
This like deer that is, I assume, the way it's kind of put across is like top of the ladder as far as that school goes for like popularity, and he's so cool.
He's the senpai.
Yeah, and like the main character type guy is the wolf character. And the problem is that, like, my intro to this was on Twitter, seeing screenshots or, like, little snippets of video of them having, like, physical interactions. And like the kissing? Deer saying, no. Like, they'd always, like, the deer would, like, grab the wolf by the neck and push him against the wall. And it'd be like, big gay energy, love this thing. And it was really consistent that was the thing for this. I didn't realise it was on Netflix. Right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I'm flicking around on Netflix and I see this thing that's been added, and I'll sit there and I'm like, oh wait, that's that deer.
That's the deer show.
And so I figure, after weeks of looking at it, I go, you know what? I'm just gonna check. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna take a peek into this world, and I'm gonna leave it alone.
And I'm gonna love it. Now, Nick, before you dive into Beastars, you just made me think. Could you imagine if, like, someone was like reporting a bullying at school or something like that? Like a dude's like slamming another guy into a locker, and he's getting really violent, and like the teachers were all like, it's just big gay energy."
That'd be terrifying and not a cool thing. Just throwing that right out there, because that's a gateway to, get this, and I'm going to say it out loud, rape. Nah.
I just wasn't ready for rape.
Not a fan. Wouldn't be pumped about it. Probably wouldn't be into watching that.
No. But anyway, so tell me about Big Gay Energy, the anime.
The thing is, like, the way that you're saying that was actually because one of the first thing that happens is that because these are all like, this world is anthropomorphic animals. like everyone's whatever, blah blah blah, and it's like it's got that Zootopia thing going. If you've seen that, where it's like there's herbivores and there's carnivores, and they're very separate. But the way that they get together in this high school is that they're in the drama club. In the drama club, they have a thing where they intermingle, and.
Just the drama club?
Just the drama club. That's like the only
That's the
one.
only crossing over point?
And that is,
that's the oasis in the desert?
That is what makes me wonder where this anime was even going to start with, because that is the bit. That is the focal point. Okay. Is that like the main character, this wolf, is in the drama club as a prop bitch. And yeah, he's like, he does like lighting and like,
I'm a tree.
From being a guy that's done camera work and that kind of stuff for theatre, I'm like, yeah, you know, doing lighting and doing all that stuff's actually really important.
Are you identifying with him?
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare.
Like, yeah, these are not terms that you're allowed to use in this context. You need to
Nicholas,
leave this alone.
I've also been pushed up against lockers by deers. I've also been a light guy.
No idea where this is going, so this is you. Oh, you are hurty. You are a mean human being. But
come on, keep going.
but I'm like, yeah, that's important. But then it like gets into this weird thing where like, the drama club is the only place where these like, what do you want to call them? Sects, like the you know, the dietitian thing. Like what these guys eat intersects.
Oh, okay. So like it's a mingling of the cliques.
Yeah. And everyone in the drama club is kind of chosen for a very particular reason. Like there's an otter that's in it because like he was abandoned as a child and raised by beavers or something. I can't remember.
Right.
But no one's really sure what this wolf's deal is. And his name's like, I keep thinking that they're going to say Legolas, but it's Leguies or something like that. Anyway.
Okay.
But literally the first thing that happens in this anime is that but this, I think it's an alpaca in the drama club, gets what they say is devoured, right? He gets eaten. Oh, okay. He gets just wrecked by a carnival. Basically, and it's like it's after dark, and they all live at this school because it's a whatever, fantasy school, and he's like yelling the whole time, like, "Oh my god, like, would you do this to someone in your own class?" And then like, it's kind of weird though in the way that you would think that would allude to like the wolf, because what this story kind of becomes is, in that first episode, it kind of like cements really hard that not a lot of people are really close to this wolf or really know a lot about this wolf, and how everyone's like kind of wondering if he does it. Like, I can fully assume that this was like a year-long arc in the manga, right? But they condensed it to like an episode where like everyone was really worried that he was the guy. He'd like eaten this student. He was the meanie. But
are you saying that because it's like it feels like it's kind of rushed out the door at the start?
Yeah, it feels like this arc shouldn't have been dealt with immediately. Okay. It feels like if you were going to run a show and you're going to have a long-running show, this would be like a little bit of an arc to add some uncertainty and interest to the story.
Yeah, but I get. But I mean, it's not Naruto. They're not going to like.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's not a show that's going to be like 600 episodes. Yeah. Did the wolf eat him?
I will never
know. No one will actually answer. But yeah, within like the first episode, they kind of do that. But then, like, I think almost to show like the kind of character they're going for, this wolf, he seems like he's stalking this sheep.
Okay.
And they kind of like have him in the background or having staring and watching. But then,
is it like a sheepdog character at all?
No. There's just no. I'm sure that would be a carnivore and therefore a in quote marks bad guy anyway.
Yes, so.
It kind of does that Luke Cage thing where you see like in the Luke Cage series, if you saw a white guy, you were just like, he's probably going to be a bad guy, and he was a bad guy.
Oh yeah, and they were always super evil.
Yeah, always, every time.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with carnivores in this, except for a few exceptions. The wolf is actually trying to like hang out with the sheep and go like find a moment when the sheep's alone, because he was actually a really good friend of this alpaca and had like a love note for her, and was actually trying to like do right by the guy that got eaten. And so you kind of have all this stuff to digest, and it's the first episode. Like, bang! Like, straight away. And you just try to get all this in your head. The problem is that in between this, you have to look at this and take this seriously with a bunch of anthropomorphic animals that are constant. And it's so weird.
Let me kind of just like break this down here. So, anthropomorphic place.
Yep.
Carnivores.
Yep.
Herbivores. Cats and dogs living together.
Yep.
An alpaca gets eaten.
Yep.
And they suspect it's the wolf, but there's no, like... So, a student is dead. Yeah. And there's been no intervention by any higher authority, like animal police. None. They're just like, oh, fuck, I guess just Lily is dead.
And they try to pretend to explain it away by him thinking to himself, when you're in his inner monologue, that no one really wants to talk about it because that's one of the biggest taboos of their world, because no one is allowed to eat meat. No one. But then you have like a big arc story thing going about the wolf basically suppressing the fact that he's got this massive like predatory nature, and I'm like, let him eat some fucking meat. Like, I'm sure someone's dead. Give him a leg. Like, just chuck him some grandma's thigh. He'll be okay for 5 minutes. Like, yeah, I don't know. And it is
also this leads me to another natural question. I feel, which is like, what kind of food do they eat in Beastars? Like
tofu, and for some reason, fish aren't anthropomorphic.
But all other animals are.
Yeah, you got your land animals, and they're considered existing, and you got your sea animals, and they're considered shit food tier. So, Peppa Pig caste system happening again. Like we saw in that children's show, how that reinforced the ideas of a caste system depending on what you were. I don't know if you saw the episode where Peppa Pig, she's got a lot of friends. None of them are fish. Fish is shit. She's got a fish in a bowl. That's how garbage fish are in that world.
I have not seen a Peppa Pig episode.
Damn it.
I'm unaware of the caste system.
I can't believe you don't know about the caste system in Peppa Pig.
Well, I admit I have a lot of binge watching to do in the Peppa Pig universe.
You do. But yeah, fish are like shit here. Okay. Apparently fish are fine. That's the thing.
Alright.
So,
Legumbulus is suspected of eating the alpaca, and the sheep is mad, and then there's the deer slamming.
All the students think he ate the alpaca.
Okay.
But then he gives the sheep the love letter, and apparently everyone forgets. And it's not mentioned again, and then at some point the wolf actually says that he's sad that it was like he's one of his best friends, but no one seems to want to talk about it. That's the end of it. That's the end of the whole thing. Student's dead. It's all over with.
Well, I mean, motherfucker's gonna die.
But no, the deer, slams him because he is the main actor, the guy. He is the man of Drama Club, right? He is the Drama Club guy,
right.
And he, from what I can gather, from what I've watched, he's basically saying, "Well, you have so much potential," and then he's grabbing it like he's physically trying to reinforce his words that as a wolf he should be like pumped about it. But the wolf has the kind of character that he's like, it means something if you're strong because you're a deer. I'm supposed to be strong, so I need to like suppress and be my own thing. But then that's causing problems because he wants to eat people. So I mean, at this point, like, the point I'm at, realistically, what I have to boil it down to is he's considering jamming his red rocket in a tiny rabbit. And I'm not going to lie, I'll give it this. I've never considered wanting to see if a wolf would just red rocket a tiny rabbit before.
I really thought you were going to be like, not going to lie, want to see it happen.
I mean,
Beastars
I'd rather
on
not.
Netflix.
Splash screen, ad. Yeah. But no, I will admit, I've never considered to myself how weird that would be and whether or not I want that to happen.
Well, I mean, look, it's an anime. At the end of the day, I'm sure that his dick looks like a human dick.
Probably.
So
they do have kind of like weird human feet.
Yeah,
so,
and so that does it. That seals the deal.
Weird human feet and hands. So I'm assuming all appendages are human-esque.
Yeah, but yeah.
But no,
so cool.
I have no doubt, right? Because my Twitter viewing of seeing how people were looking at this was very in passing. I've no doubt that if I looked into this, there would be way too much porn. So,
for sure. Yeah. For sure. Like, because, I mean, people were spazzing out about the artwork well before it became a show.
Mm.
So, like, easily, because, you know, you should see it on Twitter, so there's easily got to be, like, a shit ton of porn already. If not by the furry community, then at least by just, like, some people who don't realize that they're part of the furry community.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I find that don't realize that they're in that community that absolutely are in that community.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's the same as like the Zootopia situation where it was just like the moment the trailer hit, like somehow porn was posted before it hit.
It was like
a time travel. It was all like, I will be the first one to post Judy Hopps and Fox guy.
I was gonna congratulate you on remembering their names because I don't, but you lost it on.
I'm pretty
Fox
sure.
Guy.
I think Judy Hopps is
right.
Yeah,
Judy Hopps is right. I know.
Actually, I think the fox is called Nick, right? I don't know if he was called Nick the Fox or
I don't know.
Like a Sonic the Hedgehog. It couldn't be though, right? Because like Judy Hopps is like that's her name and not what she is. So he must be like Nick Forrester or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's possible, but like, have you watched Zootopia?
Yeah, like when it first came to DVD or Blu-ray, as they sometimes call it.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I feel like initially, for like at least most of the film, they just called him Nick. Yeah, and he was just a fox, and he existed as a fox. I feel like they might have said his full name once, but I don't remember.
I assume they must have. They must have had like their full names because like. If Judy Hopps sticks out of my mind so much, then they wouldn't just be like, it's Judy Hopps and Nick.
I've seen like way too much like a Judy Hopps cosplay to not remember the fact that it's called Judy Hopps. So
yeah. I hope. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm gonna like I'm like 98% sure that is what she's called. I'm gonna laugh if I'm wrong though.
I mean, it won't. It's not necessarily a blow to your reputation if you don't remember Judy's surname.
What will the Neon City Daily fan base think of me if I get the name of the rabbit wrong?
Yeah. While the guys that are sitting here late at night, after dark, as it were, get the rabbit's name wrong. Damn rabbit cop. Can't believe you're even in the force.
Yeah, she wasn't very good, was she? She was like, man, it's like the saddest diversity hire.
Was that what it was? I can't remember. Was it a diversity hire, or was it like she was actually decent? I can't remember.
I think that was because like I think the thing was like they're going like rabbits can't be cops because they're weak and
garbage,
shit. Yeah. And she's all rabbits. Like, no, I'll prove I can be a cop. I'm plucky. And my name is Judy Hopps. And they're like, Judy, you can't do it. Don't believe in yourself. And she's like, you know what? I will actually believe in myself. Mum, fuck you. I'm going to join the police and I'm going to be friends with a sloth and I'm going to fuck a fox and all that fan art. And so she did. And that's the story of Zootopia.
Yeah, that was how that went.
And like the bad guy was the lion. And that was weird
right, he was
because
too.
There was he's just
even
very
though
left
he was
field.
Destroying his own city by being the villain. Yeah.
I was watching like the extras on the DVD. I remember the extras more than the actual movie because they were really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea was that like the carnivores were being forced to be herbivores, and they had like freaking like shock collars that they put around their neck. Yeah. So if they ever got like a little bit snippy, they got electrocuted. And she went into like there's like this one cut scene where she went into like the equivalent of like is a bar mitzvah where you turn like into an adult?
It's when you're 13 and you're Jewish, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So it was. She went to like a bar mitzvah.
That's right, because the rabbits were like weirdly Jewish, weren't they? I say weirdly,
no. This is for like a bear or some shit, or a wolf.
I know there was like some species that was seemingly Jewish as far as they put it.
I don't.
Oh, whatever.
I don't remember, keep going. Probably. But it looked like a celebration, right? And the kids all happy, ha ha, hee hee.
Yeah.
And then it kind of cuts to the parents, and they're kind of like full on, and they're not feeling like totally happy with like the situation, because what it is they're putting the freaking shock collar around his neck.
Oh, jeez, really?
Like, happy 13th birthday. You've got electrodes on your neck forever now.
That's kind of brutal.
Yeah, and that added like this kind of like ambiguity to the entire situation. Instead of like everybody's nice and we don't eat people anymore, it's like everybody's living together and we've made this concession that we won't eat them anymore. But we kind of have this nature.
All right, so that actually to me helps not necessarily address, but bring more to light an issue that I have with Beastars, where I'm how did you convince the carnivores to just not eat you?
Maybe they thought the rabbits were hot, and so they're like, you know what, I'm going to take this one for the team. I'm not going to eat anybody. I'm going to make out with a rabbit.
Maybe. I mean...
so far, that seems to be what it is. Yeah. But they don't want to talk about it, so we'll probably never know.
They don't want to talk about it, so I guess we'll never know. We'll just move on. I do feel like, if anything, if I mention this in conversation with someone that knows about this, I feel like the answer I would get was, did you read the manga? So it's like a little bit, do I want to have this conversation? But I mean,
how many episodes have you watched?
5, maybe?
It could get answered.
Oh, maybe. But I feel like there should be, like most anime has, like most short, what the series kind of format is now, where they have 12 episodes, they pretend that's a season. And
yeah.
Unless you're Castlevania, then you make 4 and make everyone go, why didn't you just make a movie?
Oh, Castlevania's American anime. It's an American produced show that they farm out to animation studios in Japan, I believe. I think there is actually...
I was going to say, is it Japanese studios?
There is American animation in there. I don't know how much Japanese studios contribute to it, but it's a...
it's not very good. Just going to throw that out there.
Oh, story-wise, it's a piece of crap.
I feel like at some point Beastars should have almost like a bit of a run back. Like a bit of a, hey, we've mentioned all these things, but you don't know anything about the lore of this world.
Yeah.
And they should do something, even if they just block it in on an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And dump it on you. Even though that'd be a little bit jarring, I feel like it's gonna be necessary. Because at the point I'm at, I've got more questions than I do vague answers. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll have to give it a watch so that I can actually talk to you about it.
I will actually say, as weird as it sounds, I do kind of recommend watching it because it's not necessarily bad.
Okay.
It's just weird that they're anthropomorphic animals. If I saw this stuff in an anime about a high school student that was a human being and he had parents and it was like a weird harem anime or whatever
and
you wanted to do.
And he ate a girl or was suspected of eating a girl.
But this is the thing though. It'd kind of happen and you'd be like, yeah, this is wacky anime. I've been led into this before. Let's see how this goes. But because it's anthropomorphic animals, it adds this extra layer of you having to sit back with one eye open and really staring at it going, what are you doing?
Well, I think we've talked about this already. I think we just talked about it in private. But the thing is, they have... I don't think Japan has furries in the way that America has furries.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And so it's it's a dude kind of going... There are quite a few shows that kind of use animals to explore the nature of man. There's one about, I wish I could remember the name. There's one about I'm talking Japan at the moment.
Oh yeah, okay.
But there was one about a dinosaur who, a similar situation. He was a carnivore and he was abandoned as a baby and he was raised by herbivores, and so he has to fight his nature, and he basically goes fuck it, I'm gonna be a carnivore, and he runs off and he starts killing all these other dinosaurs, and then I think he runs into he joins a pack, but then they go to attack his family of herbivores. He's fuck, and so he fights off the carnivores,
right.
and he's And like the herbivores are like, no, we still love you. And he's like, I love you too. And I've learned to be myself and not just be any one thing. However, I cannot live with you guys because I cannot change my nature and I will kill you dead. I love you. And he leaves.
It's very finite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was like another one. It's called like Ringing the Bell or something like that, where it's like about a sheep who he watches his family get slaughtered by like a wolf that breaks into their pen.
Right.
So they're not anthropomorphic or anything. Like,
they're just actual animals.
Actual animals.
Right.
And the sheep is all like, I'm going to become a wolf. Fuck you, wolf. I'm going to become strong as you and I'm going to kill you. And the wolf is like, don't be stupid. You can't become a wolf. You're a dumb sheep. He's like, nah, screw you. And he's like, I'm going to follow you until you teach me how to be a wolf. And then I'll kill you. And the wolf is like, piss off.
It's like
and the wolf
Judy
kind of like
Hopps, like Nature Edition.
Yeah. And the wolf kind of roams around, and the sheep keeps following him. And eventually, the wolf relents, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I will teach you how to be a wolf, but it's going to be hard, and you're probably going to die.
Hang on. I need to. There's an immediate question that I feel needs to be in the middle of this.
He's not going to transform him into a wolf. He's going to spiritually turn him into a wolf.
No, but why didn't he just eat him?
He was just bored.
Damn it!
So he was bored. He's like, fine, I'll show you how to be a wolf. It's going to be hard. You're probably going to die, and I'll laugh. And the sheep's like, I don't give a shit. I'll become a wolf. Fuck you. And so, like, then there's like a montage of him like running into a tree over and over again and falling down some rocks and stuff. And then we flash forward, and he's an adult, and he's got like big pointy horns, and he looks fucking sick as hell. And the wolf is all like, you know what? I thought you were a shitlord, but I see now that you are truly worthy to be my successor. You're a badass, and we kill guys all the time. And the sheep is like, thank you. I hated you at first, but now I see you as a father. And the wolf is like, dope. Let's go kill. And they run off and they go kill some things. And then he goes like, here's the final test to make you be a real wolf, because a wolf is alone and has no connections and hates everybody.
Which isn't a thing. Just throwing that out there.
Go to the barn and kill these sheep that were your family. And he's like, all right, I will. And he goes in there and he busts down the door and he's like, I'm going to kill everybody in here. And they're all scared. And then he has like Vietnam flashbacks. He's like, oh no, I can't do it. Oh no, I'm not a wolf after all. And then like the wolf is all like, oh, get
in the background.
yeah. And then the wolf is like, oh, well, get fucked. I'm going to kill the sheep. He's like, no, piss off. And he like gores him with his like spiky, not
murder
in
horns?
any way real life murder horns, yeah. And he kills the wolf, and the wolf was all like, this was actually the final test. You had to kill me because that's what wolves do. All right, goodbye. What? And so then the sheep is all like, well, I'll just go back to my family, but they only see him as a monster. And so he's forced to like roam the world by himself until he dies or whatever. And the lesson there is that like you can lose sight of things that are really important to you to a point where you can never go back again.
Uplifting is exactly what that can be considered as.
And that was a fun little movie for kids in the 1970s.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I can see it being made by Studio Ghibli. That's a given. But
it's not quite, but it's got a similar style.
No, I can definitely see it. Like, Studio Ghibli is weirdly brutal. After going back to watching it when it appeared on Netflix again with my kids, every now and then I'm sitting there and I'm just like, this is... God... I watched this when I was young and impressionable.
Man, I watched, what was it? There was, like, some Ghibli film that, like, because Lauren and I were going to go to the Ghibli symphony thing that they're having down here.
Okay.
Which we did go to.
Just chucking this out there. I'm assuming you haven't looked at your phone, right? Because I just moved my phone from my desk because I went, what if my phone's making noise and messing with the microphone?
Yeah.
Lauren has mentioned, don't forget the power ballad where he trains so hard that he kills deer and shit. I want you to explain to me how a sheep is messing up deer. And I don't know if we can move on till you do that.
Well, now I know that I'm talking loud enough for Lauren to hear me. But yeah, so yeah, there is a power ballad. The power ballad is basically the montage where like he and the wolf go around just killing deer and shit. I don't know if she sent that to me like after I started talking about that or before, but
about 2 minutes ago.
Oh well, there it is. Hang on. Hang on. Let's do that. It was like 5 seconds before. Okay. Anyway, back to the podcast. Yeah. So yeah, we were trying to watch this movie because we thought it was going to be in the Ghibli Symphony arrangement.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So, but shit, I can't remember what it was called. But it was this one that was like, it was based off a book, and like people have been trying to make movies of this book for ages, and Miyazaki couldn't direct it. He was doing another movie at the time, and so he gave the directing role to his son, and they
I'm waiting for you to say
completely
his son
butchered
was
it.
like 5.
It was no, he was an adult, but he might as well have been 5 because the movie was not great.
Yeah.
And it was really disappointing, and like that. So at the very beginning of the movie, the kid who is our protagonist, but you don't know it yet, kills his dad. No reason. Like his dad is a monarch, and he's just walking down. He's just walking down a hallway, and then all of a sudden, like this kid just like runs and guts him with a knife, and then bolts.
Wow! Happy Father's Day. Eat shit.
And then later on, you meet the wizard whose name is Sparrowhawk, who apparently like this book series is actually about.
Right.
But he's kind of like he's sort of more like a father mentor role in this. But he like finds our protagonist, takes the protagonist in, like the protagonist meets some girl, and it's like, you know, it's very very Ghibli-esque.
Yeah.
But like when he meets the girl the first time, they're just in like this big city, this massive hub, and there are these dudes who are like, "Hey, we found this girl. Let's take her in and sell her as a slave."
Sweet.
Very weird.
Yeah.
Like very sudden, like broad daylight.
That's
people
what
are
you
around.
do. If you're walking around with a bunch of guys, you see a girl, you're gonna sell her to slavers. Like that's how.
Yeah, obviously.
That's
and
the way
like
it works.
her whole deal was that like she wandered away from her guardian who was present, and like so instantly they've cornered her.
Like straight away.
And our protagonist is just like, I'm gonna do something, and then he spazzes out like in an Ava 1 style berserker rage, minus the blood, and just kind of like smacks everybody with like this sword that can't be drawn.
Okay.
And then like he's run out of his way to beat up these guys to save this girl.
Yeah.
And then the dudes are like, haha, we're going to kill her if you come any closer. And he's like, yeah, do it. Do it.
Totally nullified the whole point of this exercise. I'm up for it.
Nullified the point entirely.
Sweet.
I'm confused. The girl is clearly confused because after they freak out and run away, she's like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, oh, sorry. And then anyway, the kid is like, all right, well, I'm going to go sleep on some steps, as you do.
What?
And of course, as soon as he gets to sleep on the steps, the same guys double back and kick him in the tummy, then take him as the slave. So Sparrowhawk saves him from a life of slavery. I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah. Please do.
And after he then takes him to a house with this one person that he knows, and wouldn't you fucking know it, she also happens to have the girl that he just saved living there as well. Like fucking like beat for beat. Like it's just like, wow, I wonder where they're going. There's the girl. And she hates him, by the way, because he saved her. And like he did it in a confusing way, but she really fucking hates his guts. And then like later on he's like, I killed my dad, and she's all like, oh, she doesn't ask why. He never told why.
Sweet! Killed his dad! You can hang out with me all day!
And then like an androgynous wizard captures him, and then like he kills the girl, but she turns into a dragon, and I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. Yeah.
None of that was alright.
So anyway, not Ghibli's finest.
No.
But it did have like some blood in it, and I was like, yeah, that is pretty brutal. I guess is what I was coming back around to.
That's where you were going. There was blood in it. Ghibli's a little bit brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, wow. Yeah, I can't. I will admit, even if you could remember the name of whatever that was, I would never check it out because that sounds garbage. So,
but I did go to see that the.
Symphony, you went and actually saw the symphony. See,
it was really really good.
Man, there's some.
Joe Higashi, I think, is the guy who was conducting.
Right.
He wrote all of their music.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Actually, no. I remember hearing that name previously. See, did you manage to see? Because this is something that seems to happen very often. Like anime things like this, niche things like this. get a like if they do an orchestra show, it's usually really good. Well, from what I've seen anyway, like I've watched a couple of like YouTube things on specifically I watched the Nier Automata one.
Oh yeah,
and that was really good. Someone chucked that on YouTube. I don't know if it still survives or not, or if it got disappeared. But I mean, Nier Automata, like just in general, like music.
There is so much Nier Automata music on YouTube though. That's still up there for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I will admit that like anything to do with Nier Automata, I'm generally like amused if it survives, if it doesn't have 2B's butt on it, because that seems to be a mainstay. But the last thing that I tried to see, and I didn't end up managing to get to, was an Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark done by the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra.
Oh yeah.
Right? I went to go and see it. I bought tickets with a mutual friend of ours. We both got tickets, and we were both planning on like going on. And this is going to be so bad if she ever watches this, because I didn't actually acknowledge why I ended up not being able to do it.
Yeah.
But it got to like the week before, and she reminded me about it, and I was like, I haven't even booked flights.
Oh. Oh, Nicholas.
I had just managed to forget entirely about this endeavour. Just full throttle. Just it had been dumped from the memory banks. I'd bought the ticket, and then it had just gone away. It had ejected from my brain.
Oh no!
And it got to like the week before, and I think like my biggest thing at the time was that I went, I could probably go anyway because I've got the cash, and then I went, but I've got work. But it's 3 days away. Oh god! Like, and I had to make that decision. Where I was like, how much am I going to get reamed for suddenly skipping out of work versus going? And I had to make that horrific adult decision.
I would have called in sick.
I didn't even know. And I'm now like thinking back on it. I'm like, that would have been inconsequential. I should have just called in sick.
Yeah.
I should have called in sick. I should have disappeared.
If you're listening to this podcast right now and you're ever faced with the prospect of like, should I go to my inconsequential job, or should I go to a potentially once in a lifetime event and enjoy something that I genuinely like,
just go
do that instead. Yeah.
Listen to the regret of someone that wishes that he did that. Just go and do it.
Yeah, just do it. Be like a Nike ad.
Yeah, be like a Nike ad. Cross yourself with Adidas.
That movie was Tales from Earthsea. If you want to get thoroughly confused, watch that one.
I think I've seen previews for that and been like, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'll leave it alone.
It's not great.
Sweet, you found the bad Ghibli film.
Yeah, well, it was done by his son Goro.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, yeah, it's technically a Ghibli movie, but it's not that Ghibli, you know?
It's not Ghibli.
Yeah.
Which actually reminds me, I've got a Switch now, obviously. I never had any interest in ever looking at Ni no Kuni before.
Oh, yeah.
But I've got a Switch now, and I watched a couple things about some games coming out and some games on sale. I didn't realise that Ghibli had a thing with doing Ni no Kuni.
it was in conjunction with Level 5, I believe. So, yeah. Have you potentially been like... Is there anything like on the horizon that you're looking interested in? Like games-wise?
Coming up... Actually, I will say what is kind of weird, and I guess like fitting in the theme of, you know, this website, this podcast, and everything. I'm pumped for like Cyberpunk 2077. I am, but that's like the only thing... It's a
fair way away.
And it's about the only thing really on the horizon that's got me peaked at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't... Well, okay. I think right now is normally the time that, for a lot of, like... Especially because we're going to have another, I say in quote marks, generation for consoles.
Oh, yeah, those are happening.
It does, like, that die down for a minute.
Yeah.
And especially with, you know, McVirusy pants hanging around.
Yeah, that's going to slow down a lot of stuff, so it's going to be interesting to see. But at the same time, even though there's going to be like a generational leap, I think we're still going to be getting like a lot of games on stuff as they become like a cross-generation game. We do see that a lot. And then we'll settle snugly into the next generation of gaming consoles, which will be the standard for the next 10 years.
Yeah, which is just kind of basically how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have... okay, I have no pre-orders now at the minute.
Yeah.
For anything. At all. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily, like, out of the ordinary for me, because I tend to wait until things hit. But I just have nothing at the moment that's made me jump at it.
Yeah, man, I don't do pre-orders in general, like, as a rule. Like, there's no reason.
I will, on the odd occasion, do one digitally. Like, I did, and I've done one since then, but the easiest one for me to remember is Borderlands 3. I did one for Borderlands 3 because I was like, nah, I want to play that day one, want to get in on it, I don't want to, like, be catching up to people.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff.
At the same time, a game like Borderlands 3, it doesn't matter where you're going to go to get it. It's going to be in stock.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be that you'd pre-order a game because they'd only order in, like, 4 or 5
oh, yeah, that is
copies of the game.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was, like, you get good shit for pre-ordering, but that's kind of past now. That's sort of behind us.
Yeah, no. Seriously, the only reason I pre-order is usually because I can preload. If I pre-order, it's generally digitally because I can make sure the game's already loaded. And then when it hits, I can just play it. Like, I did that with... Actually, that's the one... Animal Crossing. I did that with Animal Crossing.
Huh.
Knew it was coming out. And cool, jump on the thing. Got my copy, like, digitally pre-ordered. Downloaded it. I finished work at 6 a.m. that day. And so, literally, like, I got home, I kind of sat down and, let's check this out. And bang, Animal Crossing was playable.
Yeah.
So... That's really the only reason I do it.
Yeah, I guess if you have like
work into what I'm doing.
Yeah, if you've got like a rubbish connection and you're like, I want to preload this so I have it on time. Fair enough. I get it. But for the most part, like, you know, people going like, oh, pre-order now, like 6 months ahead of time. It's like, don't do that.
That's a bit I'm not good for that. Like, okay. I think the thing is too that like you and me. And I feel like a lot of people now don't have that thing. Or a lot of people, like, expect it to still be there. Where when we were, like, kind of in our prime of, like, yes, I need these games and I'm manic about them. When we had our prime of that, it was when there was, like, big things to pre-ordering. Like, you remember the Halo 3?
Oh, yeah. It was an event.
It was a big deal. Like, you were getting the game and you were part of the... Like, getting the game was part of the experience. And you were turning up and you'd pick up the thing or, like, you get your massive box or if you got the big one or, you know...
Yeah, nothing's really been able to really recapture that hype that I had since... I think Halo Reach was the last one that really did that for me.
Reach was the last big one for me. Like, I did do the pre-order for Mortal Kombat 10 because it came with, like, a scorpion statue. And it looked pretty rad. So I was like, no, I kind of want that. And I want to make sure I get that. I want to have that.
Yeah, I did pre-order, like, the big statue thing of Sonic Mania, but that was just because I was like, I really want to show my support for this game. Like, this is a good Sonic game. It takes me back to my childhood. Like, I'm okay with that.
And it had been a long time since we had a good Sonic game. Let's be fair. Yeah. It had been since, like, what, Sonic Adventure 2?
Yeah,
we'd
pretty
had,
much.
like, a passable Sonic game, really.
Yeah, like, Generations was okay.
Generations was okay.
And there's, like, a couple that had, like, little sparks of, like, oh, this is cool here and there. But, it's been a long time since I just, like, back to front was like, hell yeah, this is a good Sonic game. This is a good game, you know?
Well, yeah. No, that's definitely understandable too. Like like I said, I basically pre-order now for that, like, time thing. Yeah. I'm like, yep, want it, like, minute one. Especially because I've kind of had those faults where I've like, pre-ordered from, like, EB for delivery.
Yeah.
Or pre-ordered from someone for delivery for a physical copy. And then I'm sitting there, the game comes out, and I'm like, sweet, when's mine? I check the tracking, and it's like, we just sent it today. Like, thanks, guys. That's exactly what I wanted.
It's weird because, like, we're in this age where, like, I prefer digital copies of my games just because, like, it's so much easier to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I miss the physicality of actually having, like, a box copy with, like, a CD or a cartridge or something like that. Like, and particularly when I'm, like, on another game system, like, a launcher, like the Blizzard one or the EA one. It's like, part of me is going, like, how long do I have these games for, really? Technically, I've just bought a license. It's kind of the same with Valve, but Valve aren't, like, that stingy about it.
Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, like, we don't know what the future holds. Like, maybe one day Valve will get bought out by somebody like Activision or something, and then suddenly Steam will go to shit, and then I've got, like, 1,010 games that I don't have access to anymore. Whereas Valve are really cool about things where they will go, you know what? You own the game. Even if it's not on the store, you can download it, except for like 1 or 2 games that are special circumstances. But I just don't trust many other companies to like let you do that.
No, it's hard to trust a digital only system.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't physically have the thing.
Yeah, and just imagine if you bought into Stadia.
Yeah.
Nah. Like,
yeah,
or do you remember the Stardock launcher?
Oh yeah, for Sins of a Solar Empire.
Sins of a Solar Empire and Demigod and a bunch of other things, and they got bought out by GameStop. It became the GameStop launcher, and now it's gone.
I was going to say, it doesn't exist now. Like, I don't even get their emails about their weird desktop automation software anymore.
Yeah, and so now it's just like, well, I purchased games on that system because before they changed it, I really liked the Stardock launcher.
It was good. They made, like, the thing was that it was a very select few kind of, like, things that would appear on there. But you knew that the things that would appear on there were quality things.
It was basically just, like, their games, maybe a couple of other games, and all of their...
bit of software.
Their desktop software, and that was fine, but they branched out and they kind of went like, this is a bit too much for us. Sold it off to Activision, who ran it to the ground like they do with everything else. And sorry, Activision, I meant GameStop, but I mean, same applies. Tomato.
See, I hate that I knew exactly what you mean, but both of those companies are shit to me. So it's like, I agree fully. I mean, so I don't know, like the whole thing in general, like. It's so rare that I pre-order anything, and it's so rare that I get hyped for anything before release. Yeah. It is weird too, because like I said, I pre-ordered Animal Crossing, and I kind of had it in my head that I'm just like, that's such a big deal, they're not going to trash this.
Yeah.
And then, but like every game that's coming out now, I'm waiting for the penny to drop. I'm waiting for the coin to just flip over the table, hit the floor, and for there to just be something garbage about it.
Yeah.
Other than, like, I will fully admit, like, I've probably got a little bit too much faith in them, maybe. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red, they haven't failed me yet.
Yeah, I gotta, like, Good Old Games, I'm trying to use this launch way more than I am with Steam lately. Like, I bought Mountain Blade 2 on Steam, and then after I did it, I'm like, I should not have done that. I should have got that on Good Old Games.
I didn't even know it was on Good Old Games. Yeah, that was probably better.
Actually, it probably isn't. I don't even know. I didn't look. But, like, that's one of those games where it's like, I don't have to log into Good Old Games to play Mountain Blade 2.
No, you can just play it.
You have to log into Steam to play Mountain Blade 2. So, on their respective versions. Yeah. So, it's one of those things that's like, did I screw myself? Like, I'll probably end up buying it, like, down the line on GOG on sale, just so I can have, like, a version that I know has no DRM on it.
You can just have it whenever you want it.
Yeah. Because that's, like, the perfect game to just, like, be like, internet's out, I'm going to play Mountain Blade.
Let's, as much as we don't want to speak about this, let's just speak about this now. Current world climate, we're looking at lockdowns and only essential services working for us.
Yeah.
Like, I've already had this discussion with my family. I've had this discussion with my mother. If some guy driving a truck in the rain slides across and knocks out a power pole that is also running a telephone line, if we're only running essential services, we're not going to be able to immediately have someone run out, swap the box over, run that up, and get a team of guys like putting that power pole back up.
I think there are like there's too many people who are relying on the internet to work from home at the moment for them to not go. Internet is now an essential service. Like for the but that's
for the
kind context
of the
this situation.
Telecommunications, yes, they're going to keep that running for sure. But they're not going to have a bunch of like council worker-esque guys sitting there waiting to go to put up a power pole.
Yeah, no, but Nick, they need to have the internet running because people on the NBN have that instead of their phone line.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though. Is like I'm not talking about the crews that keep running the exchanges. The guys that keep running the exchanges aren't the guys that can pull out a jackhammer and rip the floor apart. The guys that keep running the exchange are the guys that can change cables and the guys that can change hardware. You effectively need council city workers to fix a physical issue out in the street.
Well, we have a competent government. I'm sure they've got it under control and have plans for it.
I'm really glad you're good at lying. But yeah, but that's the thing though. Like I look at this in that context. And you have to consider that, I feel like, at the minute. Like, what if my internet is down for 2 days?
Yeah.
And there's a stay-at-home order?
Yeah. What will I play?
What am I going to do if I want to play a video game? And power's really easily redirected. Like, if you look at our like, power networks, that's all pretty intermingled and interconnected. But if you look at the nightmare that the Australian NBN has been, it's a mess. You have specific cabling on specific nodes for specific houses, for specific streets within specific suburbs.
Well, like, I mean, if you can set your Steam to be like, this is my home PC, so if I'm offline, I can run off this one. You can. I think the PlayStation's pretty much fine for any game that isn't online enabled.
That
Same with
Steam one only
Switch.
lasts for, what is it, like 16 hours or something, isn't it?
No, it goes longer than that.
Okay. I don't know. I just remember when I had to move house and we had some issues getting the internet connected and it was garbage, but yeah.
No, you basically have to like prep it before the internet falls over.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, then you're shit out of luck. But if you've prepped it and then the
it's
internet falls over,
just a picture of Gabriel's face going, "You're fucked." But
yeah. You'd be okay with your Nintendo, Xbox. You're fucked. Like, despite them saying, like, no, we will disable our online-only features for when they first announced it. Like, they are still very much in place.
They're still very much in place, yeah.
To the point where I remember, like, I plugged in an Xbox. I had no internet. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to watch a DVD. And the fucking thing was like, you have to go online.
Yeah, you have to download the DVD player first.
Download the DVD player.
If you already had that, Jeremy,
Xbox.
you would have been fine. Huh? Why didn't you have the foresight to do that?
I couldn't believe that shit.
Why didn't you go to the App Store and download the DVD player years ago?
Stupid me.
Oh, jeez.
I could not believe it. I was incensed.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I guess on that note, we should probably wrap it up, eh?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
I mean, much like the main protagonist in Neuromancer, who is like kind of like he's riddled with like drug addictions, and he's like he's racked his body to a breaking point purely by his own faults.
That is true.
I myself have eaten quite a lot of dried apricots, and I have a very bad stomachache right now.
Well, I didn't know that was going to be the reasoning, but yeah, all right. So, I understand your faults. Yeah. Run, man, run.
Yes.
Go.
So I think the most of it has passed. But I figured, it's 20:12. It's
as he turned from the table, his insides were a wreck. His pants weren't looking good either.
Oh, we brought it back.
We brought it straight back to the poopy pants scenario from the initial.
We begin with shit and we end with shit, bros.
That's how we do it.
All right. This has been Neon City Daily After Dark, and good night. Boop.
Oh, Jesus.